Hello, everybody. Welcome to the review of round 8, um, where we still have a gap between the top 5. We had some pretty exciting and close games. A lot of injuries played a part in a lot of games as well. A few games were pretty affected by injuries, and we saw a lot of kicking in this round. And all up, there was 19 players with 20 or more kicks. Two of those players had over 30 kicks. So that was yeah, pretty good effort from everyone there. But we'll get started and have a look at this week's review of all 5 games, and we're going to start off with the highest scoring game of the round. Okay, so let's get started with the highest scoring game of the round. It's Seek and Destroy, who move up to second place, defeated Punters Paddock, who dropped down to fourth. The highest score there, it was 415 versus 387.5. Seek and Destroy ended up being 69.3 points above their projection, whereas Punters Paddock were still above their projection and were 20 points above theirs. So both players had some pretty good performances all around here. I mean, Ben King and Peter Wright both got mid-20s for full forward, and Fritsch got 36.5 forwards. Danaher up 45% and got 59, which was absolutely awesome. In the utility spot, Dawson just a little bit down at 84.5. However, Parrish up 50% on his usual projection and got 106. Both rucks were about even. Gorm was down a fair bit actually. He was down 33%. Viney got his usual percentage, and Trelaw was just as a ball man, got 57 as a follower. Oliver had probably his best game of the year in terms of stat wise, as did George Hewitt, and both were up by 27, 19%, 59 and 50 they got. Flanders a little bit down tonight, but only 3%, still got 48 as a halfback, and Sinclair got the same, so they evened themselves out. However, Sinclair was up, and look at that score for utility. Sinclair would have got 118.5 as utility, 67 as mid, 67 as a follower. 2 games in a row, Sinclair would have got over 100 as utility, by the way. And Atkins, full game this week, up 87% on his projection and got 60 as a tackler, whereas Jack Still was down by a bit way there. No loopholes used in this game. As we can tell, a couple of players missed out, like Newman, 110, he got 20 odd kicks as well. I think 25 kicks Newman got, I think it was. He 110 utility, 70 as a halfback, and pretty good scores as midfield. A few others that could have got good scores there. A few tacklers in the 30s. 44, oh, Newman again. Over here, Brayshaw, not too bad. Even Fisher had 20 odd kicks, and he would have been alright as a halfback and midfielder as well. Probably his best game of the season. Nothing else too great, I suppose. But why don't we look at the optimised lineups for that one? And we would have seen 461.5 against to 433. Reversal if optimised lineups were played, where Punches Paddock would have got the win. And the full forwards, Fritsch would have gone the full forward, Wright stays where he has. Danaher would have stayed as a half forward. However, Dawson would have been the half forward. Sinclair, both utility scores would be massive. The rucks, Cameron would have got the spot as a ruck. I think he played ruck anyway. And the midfielders would have been, Trelaw and Oliver. And Viney, so those two would have swapped, and Flanders would have come as a follower. And Fisher would have gone the halfback, and the tacklers stayed. Well, Hewitt would be the tackler, and Newman the halfback there for 70. So big score, 461.5 to 433. However, the optimised lineups weren't paid, and it was 387 to 415 to Seek and Destroy, who get the win and move to second. All right, let's move to the next game. It's top of the ladder, Sugar's Daddy, who remained first, get the win, still stay a game clear. Defeated Rangers Anonymous after their early season form. Dropped to 8th. They dropped 8th in the ladder. They got 374. So a close game, 16 points difference. Sugar Daddies were actually down in their projections by 15 points, where Rangers Anonymous was actually up by 4.3. Big difference here. Jeremy Cameron did not kick a goal, and they got 19 as a full forward. Whereas Hogan, I think he did kick 1 goal. No, where are we? Goals 2. He kicked 2 goals, but I got 23 as a full forward. So he was down. They were both down by 48 and 49%. Norton, 23 up, got 41 full forward. Baker again was a half forward. Thought it was a half forward last week, but it continued to go with him again this week and down 10% on his average. Saronga's utility was pretty good. He was one of those other ones. I think he had 9 or 18. I think 37 possessions or something. 104. McCluggage has got 96 as a utility. Had an all round pretty good game as well. I think he had 23 kicks, 24 kicks he had. He's one of those ones over 20. Jerry in the ruck was awesome, and O'Brien. So they both got 40. However, one was down, one was up. Petrarca was down as a midfielder. He was down 21%. Finn Callahan had a great game. I think, look at that as a tackler. We've got 57 as a tackler, Finn Callahan, this week. He was still up to 17% as a midfielder. And Dale, once again, one of those other ones who had over 20 kicks. He had 22 kicks. Walsh also had over 20. Walsh had 20 kicks, I believe. So he was one of those other ones that got a few kicks too. One of the 19. So he would have got 61 as a follower, 67 as a mid. Lockie Neal, 52 points, up 19%. He had a couple of quiet games, but still had a pretty good game there. And whereas Rowbottom was a bit down, Voston was a little bit down, and Rowell, look at that, down 54% as a tackler, down from his usual output. Just to have a look here, Walsh was a loophole player. The little green arrow here that Mock was put in means, next to one under Walsh's name, the little green arrow means they were loopholed, they were brought in. So he was brought in as a follower and replaced by Setterfield, who, as you can see, have got the injury there. I'll show you something else in a minute as well, because I know you're all looking forward to seeing it. What else is there? Who could have been played? A couple of good tackle scores there, a bit better than what they had. Tim Kelly, 61 as a mid, 48 as a follower, not bad. Over here, the other team, Rangers Anonymous, not much else better really. So let's have a look at the optimised lineup. So maybe it's the Pickett as a half forward, 31. Let's look at the optimised lineup. So we've got Norton full forward and Dale's a half forward, so a bit of a difference there. Norton moves to full forward, Dale gets moved to half forward. Sarong stays where he is. Dixon as the best ruck. What was the ruck here? Sherry 40. What was that? Oh, because Sherry would have been the tackler at 60. Walsh in the mid, Kelly also, and Wangani Malira. Wangani Malira is another one who got lots of kicks. I think he had 23 kicks. Over here, Pickett is the full forward and Cameron is the half forward. Even though Cameron had plenty of kicks inside of 50, but that's about it. Lockie Neal's utility 108. Brian McGluggage stays where he is. Chera comes in as a follower, and halfback and tackler Finn McCallahan. Finn Callahan. I didn't say the scores, but it would have been 445 to 424. Two big, massive scores. Sugar Daddies would have still got the win, and continue on their merry way, leading the competition this year. So we'll move on to the next game, and that next game is our match of the round. Okay, it's the match of the round, and the match of the round was actually before the start of the game. Before the start of the round was between 9th versus 10th. They're the match round. They had the closest game, and two pretty good high-scoring games as well. But it was Top Gun 2 get the win and moved to 7th on the ladder. They go 359.5, defeated Bombers River 352. Both teams were down quite a fair way on their actual projections, 26.5 and 23.9. If you have a look at it, there's a lot of reds out here for a lot of people down. Papley was down by 41% and Keys was down by 24%. Heaney, still good score, 89.5, was just a little bit down though. And Witts was up by 15%. We're over here. Walker down 15%. Stengel had a good game. He was up by 40. And Stewart down 7%, only got 72 as a utility. He would have got 51 as a halfback. That is his best position, but Bombers Forever must be struggling for players. I'm not too sure. But mind you, McGovern was down by 33%. McGovern's been a pretty good halfback this year too, to be honest. Sheasel was down by 33%, only got 36. And Libba went off a couple times. As you can tell, there's a red cross there. It means they've gone off the ground injured. Libba did go off a couple times, and one time had blood streaming out of his face. He was down by 32% as a tackler. Tom English or Tim English was up 46. Got 46 to ruckers up 39%, and Zach Butters up 27% with 66 mid here. Nolan Anderson was down. Houston was down a fair way, but Luke Ryan, he had 31 kicks. 31 kicks. Would have got in position 116 utility, 77 as a mid, 70 as a follower. Ended up being a halfback at 86 and up 37%. And Drew was down as well there. So that's our match of the round, 359.5 to 352. Anyone else could have been played in this one? 41's a tackler for Pendlebury. Half forward over here, Duggan, 32, would have been a better option. I think Duggan was another one who had 20-odd kicks. What did Duggan have? He had 20 kicks. So one of those 19 players. Yeah, not much else. Mason Wood, 39 as a half forward as well, 24 as a full forward. We're over here. Brett Daniels was all right, 32. Probably not in the best squad there. Hugo Hagen, I think one goal or so, but not much else there really, to be honest. So let's look at the optimised lineup. And it's 426 to Top Guns. Still a close game. Defeated Bombers River 395. So both pretty high scoring games. It's still close. Mason Woodward got the full forward position against Horn Francis at 29. And Dusty at half forward. Stengel stays where he is. Utility would have been English and Goldstein would have come as the ruck, where Anderson would have been utility. Which stays where he is. Heaney as a mid. Butters stays where he is. And Duggan would have come in as a follower with Libber. And the halfbacks were Ryan and Stewart. And then the tacklers would have been Wines, who had 54 as a tackler. I mentioned that on Thursday, but I've missed it in this one when I looked at it. 54 as a tackler and Pendlebury 41. But would have been 426 to Top Guns, 395 to Bombers Forever. Doesn't change the result. Top Guns still get the win and move up to 7th, where Bombers Forever are a game behind bottom of the ladder. All right, let's have a look at the Para Derby, or whatever Fennick wants to call it, whatever anyone wants to call it. Gators pitchers get the win, move up to 3rd, 379.5, up 15 points in projection. Gods Olympus down to 9th, only 2 wins for the year, and 295.5, down 63 points on their projection. Gods Olympus did have a few injuries. Bombers Forever did have a bad selection choice. Either way, Bombers Forever. Gators pitchers, forgot my own name. Gators pitchers get the win, 379 295. Gresham, for some reason, was chosen as full forward, and Bolton had a pretty bad game. Look at that, 62%, 56% were down. Whereas over here, my forwards were shocking. Max King is going to be the only key forward in the game to not score a goal or more than one goal against North Melbourne. Only had one goal. I think he only had 3 kicks for the whole game, or 4 kicks. Half forward got 14, and Kerno got 24. Max King probably get another go next week against the Hawks for me, but Kerno might be dropped against the D's because I looked at it and he hasn't really scored many goals against the D's. Bont had a fantastic game, got 95.5, not his usual high scoring utility position, but still had a pretty good game, 95.5. Whereas Yo, we all know about it. We've all been told about it. Missed, I think, only played 50% of the game or something like that. And I've still got a good score though. He went off with about, I think halfway through the third quarter. So he had a pretty good game really. 52.5 was utility, but it doesn't help us. It was down 36%. McInerney had a good game, and Grundy both got the same. Goulden was fantastic. Another one of those players who got over 20 kicks. He got 64 as a midfielder. Would have got a half forward as a 48 as well. Whereas Newcomb was a bit down. Whereas Holmes got another one of those players who had 20 kicks. Got 56 as a follower. Whitfield was down. Sicily, he did go off injured. He injured his shoulder, rolled his ankle, got abused by Fennick. Mind you, he doesn't need to yell at a first year player, a 5-game player like he did was pretty poor really, especially when you're the captain. He got 44 as a halfback. Now, is he done his shoulder? Is he going to be out for a bit? Is Mock lost the player? Is he going to move up forward? Interesting to see what happens there. And Mick had Crouch, Crouch was a loophole come in for Salem, and he got 39 as a tackler. Whereas I loopholed Holmes for Lynch, as you can tell. And over here, by the way, Harris Andrews up 25% and Nash up 50%, 51 as a tackler, so he was pretty good. Oh, Nash. There was lots of other options here, obviously. I mean, anyone for utility, really. But Clark was another one of those players got over 20 kicks. Hawkins, well, Mick didn't play him, and he's gone 4 games without a goal now. Hinch had a pretty good game. And Rowan Marshall, 91 as utility, would have been a better position, would have been better to play as well. Young had a pretty good game, 98 as utility. Where for me, the big one, obviously we can tell, besides Dylan Moore got 54 as a half forward, Dane Zorko had 35 kicks, every 129 utility, 79 mid, 77 follower, 86 to halfback. Any position would have been great, to be honest. But anyway, I get the win, 379.5 to 295.5. Let's look at the optimised lineup. It's 484, big score against 402. Bont would have been the full forward, and Wardlaw as well. Interesting choices. Moore and Marshall as the half forwards. Zorko, as we mentioned, utility with Young. The big ruck stay as they are, and the midfielders would have been Short with 51 and Holmes at 63 against Hinge and Gordon, 41-57. Clark in as halfback with Andrew stays where he is, and the tacklers stay as they were. So that was Gators Pictures get the win. A big win over Gods of Olympus. Let's go to the final game. And it's the final game of the round. Renegades, highest scoring team in the competition, get the win over, at that stage, was second ladder Maltese Falcons. There are some mitigating circumstances here, as we all know. Stiff's voodoo come into play. 361.5, down 42.8 on the projection. Against Falcons, who were down 80 points on their projection. 302. Mackay had a great game. He's been in great form this year, actually. 41 as a half forward, where Warner was down by 7%. With Langford and Rankin was a loophole player. He come in by, you can tell with the green arrow. 43 and 45, they both got up 20 and 34%. Merritt was down 9%, but he got 83.5 utility, which is pretty good. Tom Green went out within the first, I think, didn't even play 5 minutes. Tom and Ground, what do you have, Tom and Ground? Mick's normally got this somewhere. I thought Mick had that little stat, Tom and Ground, but I can't see it. But he only played like a couple of minutes of the game. Tom and Ground, 13%. He only played 13% of the game. He got 8.5, went off with a bad ankle, but apparently it's not a serious injury. Briggs was down. Bonner was down. Dacos up 10%. Would have got 107 as utility. Dacos even got tackles. Amazing. Can't believe it. Any position would have been good for Dacos. Darcy, they subbed him out. They'll kill him, Richmond. Don't need to play him. So he only played pretty much, what did he play? Oh, wrong one. Oops. He played 43% of the game time and still got as a ruck 21 points. LDU was a bit down as well, 25%. Nick Martin was up 56. Blakey 53% down. He didn't have a very good game at all, actually. And Dunkley was always good as a tackler. Loophole wasn't used. Miller was down by 37%, so Cripps would have been the better tackler in the end. May 69 as a halfback. He had an awesome game, to be honest. Other options, well, Akers pretty good there. Midfield was a midfielder, all utility. Tackle 41 for Warple. And anyone as a forward or half forward? Marshall got injured during the game, it looks like. Kelly, half forward, 33. We're over here. Pretty much anyone would have been better as a utility because Tom Green got injured. But Chris would have got 49 as a tackler as well. Yeah, about it. But let's look at the optimised lineups. We've already gone about 20 minutes on this news, so let's have a look in this review. 451, Falcons would have got the win. Big change, 302, so 150 more points than what they got. I mean, obviously they had an injury against 361, so 451 to 442, Falcons would have got the win. Mackay stays as the forward. Mackay and Langford stay where they are, and Rankin stays where he is, where Rochelle would have come in the half forward. Dakish Utility, and Dunkley 112. So a few 100-point teams. Meek as a ruck 50. Meek was awesome. Who did he play? He played Briggs. Interesting. You always play ruckman against English because English is no good. It's a hit out. English is great around the ground, but he always loses hit outs. And Pidney's a ruck there. Warner and Akers, Bonner and Kelly, May and Martin, and then Warple and Crisp. So Falcons, although optimised lineup would have got them win, they lost. Stiff goes to 6th on the ladder, highest scoring team of the comp, and Falcons drop down to 5th. So let's have a look at the team of the round this week. Langford would have been the full forward, 563.5. Danaher half forward, Sinclair's utility, Meek as the ruckman, Hugh McGluggage as a midfielder with Zorko as a follower. Halfback would have been Ryan and Grundy as a tackler. So Gators get 2 players in there this week, and Top Guns, Falcons, Punters Paddock, Seek and Destroy, and Renegades are all represented in this week's team of the week. Let's have a look at the ladder. All right, so real quickly, Sugar Daddy stay on top, 28 points, followed by Seek and Destroy and Gators Butchers on 24. Punters Paddock and Maltese Falcons on 20. Then there is a game break to Renegades and Top Guns. 1 game out. Rangers Anonymous and Gators and Gods of Olympus are down. Only got 3 wins for the year and 12 points. And Bombers Forever with the 2. We go back to the teams we play. We've played everyone once now. So next week we go back to who we play to begin. So I will be playing Sugar. And this is the team you would have played against round 0. So maybe some revenge for those teams that didn't have their full list for that game. And yeah, so just a reminder also, player stats if you want to look at who's got what and what players and who was the best player for this round and all that kind of stuff. The best utility for the round, and I think you can get full season stat toggle for full stats. I'm assuming that's, I don't know what that is. Well, maybe, sorry, that's just for the round. If you want to go for to see AFL players, if you want to see for the season and who's available, who's not available, have a look here. A couple of players there that aren't in teams that are available still. That'll be it for the review. A long one this week. Just a reminder, Thursday night is Carlton versus Melbourne. The weather looks pretty good. So make sure you get your teams in. I think I might drop Karen over. We'll see what happens. Other than that, everyone, thank you. Sorry about the long review. I was just talking shit and was unorganised. See yous.